Hey, it's Andy from FensePost here, and today we're going to take a look at Mirah's debut album. You think it's like this, but it's really like this. Right here I have the 20th anniversary copy on silver vinyl. It's a double LP. I'll get into that in a little bit, but first I'm going to tell you a little bit about the original pressing and its original repress. The original pressing on K Records came, as many things come on K Records, especially around 2000 and prior, in a very DIY manner. On the back cover, the track list was glued on. This was a very limited pressing. At this point in time, less than 200 people have it in their collection on Discogs. The repress, which came in 2014, had the track list printed on the back. Otherwise, the art was pretty much identical. Like its original pressing, that 2014 reissue was very limited and less than 300 people have it in their collection. In 2020, Mirah reissued this album on Double Double Whammy Records. Now it has 4 iterations. The first is a milky clear version, which has 300 copies. The second, blue, which was limited to just 100, and that was a rough trade exclusive distributor copy. There are 2 that have no specific limited quantity noted. One is this and one is the black vinyl version. This here is the silver version. So we're going to take a quick look at that today, and I'm going to talk also a little bit about this music and how it compares to, well, what came after for Mirah. This album cover is pretty identical to previous versions on vinyl. There's not too much different, if anything, on the cover. You'll see differences on the spine, of course, given that this is on Double Double Whammy as opposed to K Records. And then the back is quite different given the track listing includes a bonus disc of other artists covering Mirah's album. Artists like Y, Ilabumba, Mount Erie, Half Waif, Alison Crutchfield, Flock of Dimes, Hand Habits, The Blow. There are some really great artists on this list, and that alone makes looking for the 20th anniversary copy worth it. This, unlike previous iterations, comes as a gatefold, which makes sense given the double disc. On the inside, you'll see some art, photographs of the original, either the original K cassette or a demo cassette that she sent to K, and some other things. Inside the gatefold, you have notes from Mirah herself talking about that time in 1999 and 2000, back when she was 25, recording this with Phil Elverum of Mount Erie and the microphones. You also have a brief note from Phil Elverum himself. In it, he talks about the late 90s and working with Mirah and just that time. And you have a few paragraphs by Kalia Maricic out of Brooklyn, talking a little bit about designing the original record jacket and so forth. Overall, it provides a nice, cool history of the album. I love that. I love liner notes. I love revisiting those past eras. I love it when artists put additional things like that in reissues. So to me, that's great value. Like I said, this is the silver vinyl version. I think the album looks great on silver wax. To be honest, it sounds great too. And what about the music? Mirah's early work especially embodies the minimalistic lo-fi folk that you hear from K Records and Pacific Northwest artists around that time, despite Mirah hailing from Brooklyn. I love tracks like Sweepstakes Prize, Engine Heart on the A side, and 100 Knives and Telephone Wires on the B. And the tracks by Half Waif and Mount Erie are among my favorites of the covers. Overall, this album is not quite as strong as several of her subsequent releases. In fact, you think it's like this, but it's really like this is probably my least favorite Mirah album in my collection. Others like Advisory Committee from 2002, Changing Light from 2014, and Sundial from 2017 definitely top it, but it's still a viable release and it's still quality music. Overall, I think it's a great release and I'm glad to have it in my collection. I also have a link down in the description over to my music blog FensePost where you can read my album review and hear some tracks from the album, as well as some of the covers that are featured on this reissue. You can also find links to where you can pick up the album. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.